I saw something just pop up on the screen that said go, so I'm going to assume that that means we are here and live. Welcome, guys. This is Mostly Business, brand new show. We have no idea what we're doing. This is actually a dry run. I had to drag one of these other guys that are with me here, kicking and screaming, to come to this dry run because we haven't rehearsed, very little practice. We had a little bit of a dry run. A couple days ago just to make sure that we kind of had our act together, but not much more than that. I'm assuming that anybody who is here right now knows who I am, so I'm not going to like do a big introduction of me or anything, but this is probably the most exciting thing that I've got going on right now in my business life, which is this new show that we're launching today, live March 27th, 2024. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about why we're doing a show and why I'm excited about it, the business rationale, what it's going to be and everything. But if you're here right now, you probably already got the email or LinkedIn message that we sent out saying, here's what we're doing. So I'll save that spiel for a little later. And the first thing I want to do is introduce you guys to my sidekicks who I promised to tell you about. Two guys that I would not be doing this without these two guys. And you know how sometimes like in business or life, you like have an idea and then you're like, oh, I'm going to see if this, but you got to like kind of convince some other people to like kind of do it with you, or it really wouldn't happen. I actually like genuinely am pretty grateful that these guys both said yes when I said like, maybe we could do this like weekly show. And nobody was like, no, I don't want to do that. So it was like very quickly like, yeah, let's do this. So first up, we have what I'm going to call marketing guy. Okay. And now I'm going in alphabetical order, starting with first names, because this first guy's name is Ryan and the second guy's name is Tim. So Ryan would go first based on that logic. Marketing guy. I don't know. We met probably, I don't know, a decade ago. I found him in the street, laying in the gutter, dusted him off with a broom, drug him inside, and gave him a marketing role in one of my first company, Linked Selling.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. He still has that broom hanging on the wall above his bed at home. And just as a reminder of all the great times we've had in business. But for real, though, Ryan has worked with me and basically been leading marketing in my companies for a long time. Now he's freelancing, if you will, doing consulting, doing strategy work with a number of different companies. And so I was really excited that he said, yeah, I've got some extra time where I could do this thing with you. So we've been doing it together a long time, like your father-in-law said at your wedding. Ryan, I went to Ryan's wedding and his father-in-law said from the stage that Ryan enjoys the guy that he's doing it with.
And yeah, everyone heard that and figured, and heard exactly what you did. So I got made fun of a lot. And by the way, I'm playing around with the camera views too. This is we're calling it episode 0. What's up, Tanner?
We've been enjoying doing it for a long time, and we're talking about in the business world. So don't get excited. And other than that, Ryan, how have you been enjoying going from working for one company to doing work as a consultant, working for a number of companies?
Oh man, I've loved it. So like Josh mentioned, I started working with him. I don't know, it's over 10 years ago now. I think this might be like technically, if we were still, this would be like 11 years. Over the years we built a bunch of companies, and part of that comes with like, I don't know, the job gets more and more stressful and there's more things to do. And it's been really, really nice to be able to focus on a handful of things at one time. This being one of them, we're just getting started, but and kind of relaxing for a little bit as I figure out exactly what I'm going to do. But yes, I've been doing consulting work. It's been fun. At the last, I don't know, for like 9 years, I haven't really worked with clients other than I would do all of our internal marketing. So it's like a unique situation having calls with clients talking about what they need to be doing to get business. So instead of trying to sell software or own services, I'm just helping other people do what they need to do. And it's been a fun challenge, and it's just been really weird to get right back into it. And to be honest with you, I kind of love it at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. It's really only been, I don't know, like a month. Like it hasn't been. It's not like I've been doing, sitting around for just kind of hanging out, kind of working for. It's only been like a month, maybe 6 weeks, but I've been able to get a lot more done around the house, and I've, met a lot of really cool people in that time.
Yep, I know you got a lot to do around the house. Ryan has like 7 kids, 8 dogs.
I have 2
living with
dogs. One
him.
of them's very annoying and has been barking. He has dementia, FYI. And then we're about to have our 4th child in a month.
It's shocking to me, honestly, like to think of, I don't know, like it's just 4 kids for you is just
It
like
was shocking to us too.
somebody
Honestly,
should have stepped in at some point.
Yeah, I blame my wife for that. But yeah, I don't know. We're having 4 kids. If we have 5, I will be very stressed out, and it'll be a whole different Ryan. But 4,
yeah, man. Yeah, well, cool. Well, dude, super excited that you're going to be doing this with us over these next, number of months, years, however long it takes to achieve maximum success. Ryan brings uniquely to what we're doing here on Mostly Business, marketing stuff, marketing strategy. He's focused, he's in that world all the time, and also lots of comic relief as well. One of the funniest people I know, so you better be bringing the funnies. No slacking on the funnies.
I just wanted to highlight this from the chat really fast.
Oh man, that's nice. Well, anytime there's some nice stuff about you that you want to highlight for yourself,
it's only going to be me. Anytime if anyone wants to say I'm handsome, if anyone wants to say that I'm not short for an adult man, anyone wants to do that, then yes. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited to do this. It's going to be fun. We're kind of we're going to be figuring it out.
All right, man. Well, next up, as you guys can see, we have a fine gentleman named Tim Ewing, a music industry veteran. You name a band from the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, and this guy has probably hung out in their dressing room, been to many of their shows, promoted their records. He's got 1 million stories and 1 million platinum records framed on his wall behind him. Since then, now he's been basically like world's leading business coach for, I don't know, Tim, how long you been doing business coaching since you started working for, Eric, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, man. That was, I think like 12 years ago. I accidentally fell into it. It was a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And then it turned out to be business coaching. I'm like, well, I lost my job in music. I'll give it a try. And here I am like 12 years later.
Yeah, so, man. Yeah. Well, nobody in the world has a bigger passion for music than Tim. And I don't know anybody either that has, a better passion for helping clients and, doing business coaching and all the things that you do professionally. And so I'm really grateful to have you here, of course, and to be a part of this and to fill a gap that is desperately needed, because Ryan and I don't know much about music and don't do much coaching. So Tim's worked with so many businesses. And also, fun fact for you guys, is as is Ryan. Tim is an actual real friend of mine as well. We've traveled around the country to see a few different Pearl Jam shows over the years, and I've come to hang out at his house for a weekend just for the.
How many have you gone to together? How many shows have you been to?
This will be our
4.
No, this is our 4th coming up. We got Vegas in about 7 weeks, so that'll be number 4. We've done St. Louis, Montana, and Wrigley Field.
Yeah, man, we've done some shows.
It's kind of funny. The very first time, Josh, that I met you in person was shaking your hand and saying hello at our seats in Wrigley Field. It's the first time we met in person, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, man.
I know one funny story. How we actually met. I was a coach for this one particular guy. I'll leave nameless for right now. And I had to interview different CEOs in the business. So I picked you, and I interviewed you for like 15 minutes. And then we basically shot the shit on music for about a half hour, discovered we had the same favorite band, and here we are a decade later.
Cool, man. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of memories still to make, Tim. A lot of life left ahead of us, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I'll be coming out. You know that.
You're coming out. Oh, all right. So
I'm going to your place.
Oh, yeah. Coming to my house. Yeah.
And if I had come out, I would have done that about 50 years ago. But
yeah, you wouldn't be waiting. You'd be getting out there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. You know, I'm sure everybody wanted a little bit of a heads up about what we're doing, who you guys are. So we took a few minutes to do that. Why are we doing this show? Let me just really quickly talk about it. A couple things. Number one, when I was looking at what am I going to do next in my life, my business, now that moving past companies I've sold, took some time off, et cetera, et cetera. You know, have this big following that I have sent on LinkedIn, et cetera. And I was like, what can I do to continue, you know, like it would be a waste to just throw this stuff away and not like keep putting out stuff to the people that are following me. It only makes sense to do that if I can create some sort of a business model around it, because, you know, we're not just like writing content for the fun of it. Right. And I had to look at a way that would create a lot of leverage as well. And the show format, I think, does that. Eventually it will do that in a big way, because you can show up, do something like this, have fun, talk for an hour, have a bunch of different topics, make it entertaining, make it something that we actually look forward to. And then that content can be repurposed in a bunch of different ways to create kind of a marketing ecosystem that kind of drives a business model. And that's really the gist of it. But as we've started kind of like plugging away at this, it started to feel like, well, maybe the show by itself could be a cool thing. And I think that there's kind of a gap in the marketplace of business shows that are more like a variety show, if you will. Like, you know, like if you're into sports, like Pat McAfee's show, which is on ESPN now, but used to be just a YouTube show for a long time. Something that's kind of fun, entertaining, not just have a show where we sit and like interview an expert for an hour, and that's like the podcast, right? So there's plenty of those things out there. Some of them are good, some of them are you know, not very good. I don't listen to any of them because I think they're all super boring. But some people are into it. That's fine if you are. But we're going to try and do something different here. So that's what the show is. That's what the show is going to be like. And I want to start by jumping into something that caught my eye recently. So we can do two things here. I want to talk about a little business thing. I want to talk about a cheeseburger thing, and actually a third thing, March Madness. Have either of you guys filled out a March Madness bracket?
No, this is like the first year that I haven't even touched it.
I have not either, Tim.
The second year I have filled out one, and I'm rocking it. I got 12 of the 16 teams right now, so left. So, and I know nothing about. I couldn't name one college basketball player. So,
not one.
Not one. I basically did it going like, if it's places I like to travel, I was like, I'm going to pick them. There's a place that I like that I don't like, I went against them, you know. Right. So really,
I don't either. But I saw. I've watched like 5 minutes of a couple games recently, and they were like, you know, super entertaining. I like to turn them on right when they're about to be over if the score is close, because it's like, okay, now this is exciting. I don't think I'm alone in that. Nothing revolutionary there. But the point is, when I was watching one of these the other day, there was a commercial from a very high quality restaurant establishment that you guys might be familiar with called Wendy's. And if you're familiar with Wendy's, you may know of something called Dave's Double, which is a double cheeseburger that, like most fast food restaurants now, costs, I don't know what it even is normally, like $5, $6, $7 to go to get a double cheeseburger at a McDonald's type restaurant.
It's gone up so much in the last, like, I'd say even 6 months.
Yeah. So they had an ad that was basically, the gist of it was, during March Madness, get our app and you can get a $2 double. And I was like, God damn it, I'm going to get that app right now. I gotta get that $2 double and I got to save this $3 on this thing that I wasn't even thinking about buying. But the reason I bring it up is because, like, I like double cheeseburgers. I've had Wendy's double cheeseburgers before, and I think they're pretty damn good, actually. It had been a long time, but on a road trip like a year ago, we stopped, got Wendy's, and it was straight up, it was on point. Very delicious. Now, it wasn't like Five Guys quality, but it was really delicious. And like, it got me thinking about,
it's never
Wendy's.
Frozen.
What's that?
I said it's never frozen. Maybe
no,
that's why.
Yeah. I thought you said I'm frozen, and I was like, well, we've already got technical problems.
No. I kind of am, though. It's been a little choppy.
Oh, that's all right. But anyway, so would you guys consider, would you download the Wendy's app in order to get a $2 double cheeseburger from them? It's only during March Madness.
Never.
No, never. Ryan says no.
Never. I don't know why. I don't want fast food apps all over my phone. I hate even doing it for pizza places, dude. Like, because I have enough. I basically figured out. I saw some advice. I was like getting too many notifications. Like, turn off all your notifications. And then I started getting people pissed off at me that I wasn't responding to messages and doing things. Like, it became an issue. So I turned them back on. And I don't want to go through everything and turn everything off. And I know damn well they're going to send me messages trying to give me Wendy's all the time. So I would just pay the $4 or whatever it is, then download the app. It's like it's a very old man stance, but like I just
Wendy's. It sounds like.
No, well, dude. Okay, if you go to my kids love Happy Meals. This is not Wendy's. We'll get back to it in a second. My kids love Happy Meals. When you go to McDonald's drive-through, which is like not a unique thing for kids, but whatever. If you go to McDonald's drive-through, the first thing they ask you now is, "Did you order through the app?" Which is just wild to me. Or like, do you have the McDonald's app? Which is wild to me. I don't know. I'm assuming, I guess, you still have to go through the drive-through and wait the whole time to get your stuff, but you have to order. But people are ordering through the app, and I guess for discounts and based on this Wendy's thing. But I've never understood it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was such a hot deal that I was actually thinking of downloading the app, and I did. I downloaded the Wendy's app. I was like, I want to see what.
Did you get the double?
I want to see what's up with this, but like. The friction is like, how do I make this special trip to Wendy's before the March Madness is over? And I just, honestly, I'm not sure it's going to happen at this point, but here's the thing I think that is interesting about this is that they are like the cheeseburger deal. I think they're going to get a shitload of business from that. And like, I don't know how that applies to like normal businesses that are just like small mom and pop shops, but like, if you've got a trending thing, like honestly, over the last couple of years, a lot of people, I've had multiple conversations over the last couple of years about like the accelerating price of cheeseburgers, right? Yeah. So if anything like that is happening and you can come in with a special offer of some sort, maybe you can get some market share from it. Tim, are you going to go get the cheeseburger now? Or are you?
I am actually torn. I'm thinking of joining you and getting the app, and I will say there's no cost I won't pay for a good cheeseburger. It is my execution meal. In other words, I'm on death row. I'm getting the burger before that's it. So
hardly a week goes by that I don't have a burger.
Yeah, I'm good for 3 a month minimum, and if I'm out to eat, it's strong. I had, by the way. So I never thought we were going to talk about burgers. I had a Ruth Chris burger. We have Ruth Chris here. They have happy hour burgers. $10 Ruth Chris burger. Totally.
What's it normally? 25 or something?
Probably. I don't know. I go there. I go to happy hour. It's probably.
Steakhouses have the best burgers. We have a place in St. Louis. It's like an old school. I don't know, steak place called Sam's Steakhouse. I've had a bunch of friends work there because it's not that far. Their burgers there are the shit. Like you go there and you can go. It's like people in suits eating steaks, or there's the bar and it's like a bunch of people getting drunk and eating cheeseburgers. And the burgers they're just as good as the steaks in terms of like how happy I am. Which is honestly pretty normal. If you get like an amazing burger and an amazing steak, the steak is probably better. But I wonder how much of that is because it was more expensive that it's just like, okay, this is better. Sometimes I'll eat a burger and be like, that was the best thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just exaggerating it, but
so along the same lines as this, while we're knee deep in the fast food game, Wall Street Journal recently had a article that came out that said California, Tim Ewing's home state, future governor of California, Tim Ewing, California restaurants cut jobs as fast food wages set to rise. So here's the deal. California state law is set to raise fast food workers' wages in April to $20 an hour. This is according to the Wall Street Journal article. I have not looked into, who wrote this article. It's happening
next week,
Tim?
April
week.
1. Yeah.
Oh, April 1. Okay. All right. Seems like the real deal. All right. So the raising fast food workers' wages in April to $20 an hour. Michael Ojeda, a Pizza Hut driver for 8 years in Ontario, California, received notice in December that his last day would be in February, according to a letter from his former employer. Pizza Hut franchisee, Southern California Pizza, offered $400 in severance if he stayed through February. But Ojeda, who said he made hundreds of dollars a week in wages and tips as a delivery driver, went on unemployment instead of taking the $400 severance. Made more money by going on unemployment. And that makes sense for Michael, of course. And Michael said, Pizza Hut was my career for nearly a decade. And with little to no notice, it was taken away. He said he previously supported his mother and partner on his Pizza Hut delivery wages. So a couple things that I thought were interesting about this article. Number one, I'm assuming I'm trying to figure out which lobby group, which private interest group is behind this piece based on this headline. California state law set to raise fast food workers' wages in April to $20 an hour. Is it the restaurant industry that you think benefits from this kind of an article? Because obviously the tone of it is that the businesses can't afford to pay enough people, so they're cutting jobs, so they'll have less people, but those less people make more money. I just can't wrap my head around like who's behind this article. Because Wall Street Journal doesn't just put out like straight up information, right? Like I can't figure this one out. What do you think?
I mean, I think it benefits the restaurants if they're like, because if they're, I mean, but on one hand it does, on the other hand it doesn't. The reason I think it's from the restaurants is the way they highlighted like offering a severance package, and like how else would, I mean, I guess the guy could have mentioned that. This guy could also just know a writer and they wanted to talk about that. But again, it's the Wall Street Journal, so there's something behind it. But like, it has to be that if they're like, well, we're going to be cutting stuff, everything's going to be slower.
Tell everyone about how the businesses can't. The people are now. We have to let these people go. They were supporting their families on this job. Now we have to let them go because these wages are going to be too high. I think what's maybe missing from this is like, how long till those jobs are going to be replaced, anyways, by little robots running around in cars.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Do you think that's going to be a thing that just
I don't
agrees with no people?
I don't know, but it's like
you'd think it could, but it could.
I think it's got to hurt their business though out here because the prices have to go up, right? And there's going to be certain people that don't want to pay, say maybe $12 for a McDonald's double, whatever, a Big Mac or whatever it is. Yeah. So there'll be people.
Here's the other thing. I mean, I think that's absolutely, and it's already happening with rising prices at food establishments. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the rising costs of the raw materials, inflation in food prices and all that stuff. But the other thing that kind of struck me about this is like, well, when you go into fast food places, pizza places, etc., they have already reduced headcount. They have kiosks to take your order, right? They don't have as many people at the front already. So they've already reduced their headcount to some extent. And so part of it kind of came off as like disingenuous because like they've increased profitability through those moves already. And so, but whatever, it's all business. People have to do what they got to do. But how can Pizza Hut just cut drivers' jobs because the wages have gone up too much? Like, don't they still need these drivers to deliver the pizzas? Like maybe someday the robots will do it, but for now, who's delivering the pizzas now if you don't have Michael Ojeda?
Oh, well, I mean, I also wonder if there's, in this specific instance, this guy had been there 8 years. Maybe, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works with delivery drivers.
Yeah.
But if his like hourly had gone up enough because he's been there 8 years, if there's like, we're going to replace him with like I don't know, an 18.
Yeah. What was the old minimum wage? 15? Tim?
I think it's around 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like $5.50 here in Missouri when I worked at McDonald's in high school.
So
I
it's a 30% increase in the cost of labor for restaurants based on if it's 15 to 20, 33%. Of course, they'd have to look at like, can we trim staff to offset that? But to some extent, like articles like this sometimes come off as disingenuous because it's like, what, Pizza Hut's just not gonna? Are they gonna cut? They're just not gonna deliver the pizzas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless they just wanted to make this guy like a martyr, right? If you think about it, like they're gonna do this to a handful of people, make sure it gets in the news, and then so it seems like it's happening everywhere when it's really not. I don't know if that's the case, but like
big shout out though to Michael for supporting his mom and partner on his Pizza Hut delivery wages. Like, what a G.
Right? It made me think, if this show, goes completely south, I think I'm going to Pizza Hut though. So for a job,
like,
positive, right?
Well, for $20 an hour
plus tips.
I'm always torn. I'm always torn on the minimum wage conversation too, because like I don't have my mind wrapped around exactly what it should be. Because in my head, it's like, damn, these have gone up so much. But at the same time, like people got to live, and living in California, like
it's tough.
Isn't cheap.
$40,000 a year. That's top line. That's before taxes. $40,000 a year in California. I don't understand how anyone makes that work.
Yeah, unless you're in a household with many people, that kind of thing. You have whatever you've got
many people working and contributing. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. If you've got 3 of those, then sure. But yeah, it's just like, man, that's crazy. So good job to Michael on that one for sure.
What they're going to do is they may charge, put a charge for the delivery and encourage people. That maybe will make people pick up their pizzas more. And if you really want a delivery, maybe it's $5 or whatever it is added on,
Yep.
Just a thought.
I pick up my pizzas anyway. I pizza places are always so close, and I mean they're always a few minutes away. Unless I have people over and I'm ordering pizzas for like a thing, I'm always picking it up. I guess if you're like the only adult there and you have a bunch of kids around, that could be
right.
But in my house, within 5 miles, there's probably 15 pizzas. There's got to be. So maybe that is the case. Maybe there is just less people getting delivery. But at the same time, I don't know if I believe that because like there's like Grubhub and DoorDash,
right?
That, seemingly crushing it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll keep an eye on that story and see where things go in California, a lovely state with super high taxes, and I don't know what else is good about it. It's nice there. It's nice weather.
It's we go, and I'm in Sacramento, by the way, so about an hour and a half from San Francisco. We basically go give or take close to 8 months without seeing a cloud. I mean, you can't beat that. And there's no humidity. And the one thing we do pay a lot of taxes, but there is a really cool law, a tax law that is good in California.
Tax laws are really cool.
Yeah. So there's a good one for someone like me who bought my house, the one I'm still in. In fact, you've slept in this room, Josh, as you know.
On a blow up mattress. Blow up queen size blow up mattress with a lady.
So you get to I bought this house in '97 for very little money. You get to keep that tax rate forever in California if you stay in the house, or if you're over 55 and you move somewhere else. People would never guess. Like, what do you pay for? And obviously you now know it's low. But what do you think the yearly taxes are in California for a house? Property tax
for your house?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any clue.
I'll be real. I don't even know what they are for mine.
I don't know what
2,000?
2,000 for the year. That's great, right?
That's super, super low for sure.
I know.
Yeah.
So
your house, if you were to have to get your house reappraised now and reassessed for taxes, it'd be like
it would be about 6,500 probably. Yep, a year.
A lot more. I think even more than that. But you know better than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a really cool thing about California right there. If you've lived there for a long time, you're saving a few thousand on your property tax.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Ryan, tell us about this thing going on with LinkedIn, filling the void with news. Facebook and X gave up on news. LinkedIn wants to fill the void. What's the deal with this?
All right, so I would share my screen on the article, but there's an article on Fast Company. So I have been since I've been doing the consulting, and we're going to be doing this. I've been on LinkedIn more than I had been. I hadn't really been on there. Like, I wasn't marketing for anything for myself, so I've been on there more. I have noticed there's been a ton of news in there, but I saw this article in Fast Company that talks about how Facebook and X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they're getting rid of a lot of the publishers features, which as somebody who's never been a publisher on there, I don't even really know what they are. But there's like features that are like that benefit publishers, and they're getting rid of it. And at the same time, LinkedIn seems to be leaning the opposite way and giving more like giving more reach to news like platforms or publishing platforms. So whether that's a blog or an actual news station or like traditional news. And I thought it was interesting for a few reasons, because I still remember like the great, like, I don't even know what you'd call it. It was like the news, like Facebook out of nowhere, like this is probably 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, just stopped giving people organic reach, and it like crushed all traffic for like newspaper websites, websites that newspapers that have tried to go on digital, different news, unless it was like something that went viral. And then essentially, like, if you want reach, you have to pay for it on Facebook. So it became something that, like, if you're not going to run ads, it was really, you're not going to get a whole lot out of posting on there. You're still going to do it. But LinkedIn's going the exact opposite direction. And what the article said and what the person did is that, like, the way they think the reason they think this is happening is because Facebook and so many social media platforms have gotten really like about arguing. Like if you get on like X and you say something and you have any following at all, like your entire comments, most of them are going to just be people telling you you're an idiot. Or if they agreeing with you at the same time as saying somebody else is an idiot. That doesn't happen on LinkedIn. So what I wanted to do is, like, I'm interested to see what you guys think about that. Like, how do you think LinkedIn can be, or a social media platform in general can be a great, like, long-term news source? And is LinkedIn really the place for that? Like, it's on the surface, it seems like a place for that, but it's LinkedIn, and people aren't going to get on there as much.
Yeah, I don't know.
For the most part.
I feel like not that many people actually use LinkedIn. Like, it's a business thing, obviously, but like out in the real world, like hanging out with my buddies and family, and like they're not logging into LinkedIn. So it's like limited.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be a source of business news, not like news like not like the fast, something that's not necessarily related to business work on there, but any sorts of business news. I'm unsure. Like, we've been doing the LinkedIn newsletter for years, right? Like, we were part of the beta program or the pilot program, whatever they called it.
Right.
For the Marketing Minute, it's got like 190,000 subscribers. So we were lucky, right? We were fortunate, I guess is a better way of saying it.
Sure.
But now everyone has a newsletter. So everyone's kind of publishing their own blog on there. So it's becoming some sort of like fusion of like, a combination of like Facebook, some resume site, and like Blogger or Substack or something on there. And it's interesting to me. My biggest concern is half the people I see posting on LinkedIn are posting on how to create LinkedIn posts with AI, and it's just going to become like some derivative, like rehashed bullshit over and over and over again. Like the same thing, it's going on. It's not actually going to be a unique perspective, but
yeah, I don't see LinkedIn becoming an overall general news juggernaut. I hope that they can like keep a good thing going for the business community, because it seems to serve a certain kind of niche purpose. But the AI thing is very interesting, because that applies to not just LinkedIn posts and LinkedIn news, but everything else. And there's news organizations right now that are already using AI to write news articles. And what I've been seeing more of a trend of more recently in the marketing world, Ryan, I'm sure you're seeing the same thing, is a lot of people who are kind of like, okay, over the last couple of years, they tried to make that work and it's not there yet. And that, like, they're moving back to like humans writing, because it's just like the computer just doesn't get it 100% of the way there. Right. So like the stuff that I write about, that like I've been putting out on Substack over the last couple of weeks, like how do I write a prompt that would give me that kind of content from it. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, if you want generic marketing articles, if you want to be like, give me an article with 5 tips to do something cool on YouTube, like it can do that, right? So like bullshit marketing blog posts, fine. But like really significant, substantial content that's going to move the needle probably needs a lot of human involvement still.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let me follow up on that real quick, because of something I actually posted in our LinkedIn group like a week or two ago, and I was talking with a buddy about it. Is like with it's I would say social media in terms of like influencers and those like long form posts of like 7 tips on how to maximize your whatever. That's been like kind of oversaturated for quite some time, and it'll be like people will rise up and get a bunch of followers and they'll kind of fall off, or a bunch of people will do that. And for a lot of people, it's helped them make a lot of money. So I'm not hating on them, because those people that have 500,000 followers on LinkedIn, like they're not like doing poorly. I can't imagine, at least, But I will say, I wonder if like as AI becomes more and more adopted, so it already is very adopted for people that are like looking into stuff like this, but like in general, it's not like your people that you said that are not on LinkedIn, they're probably also not getting AI prompts for putting AI prompts for anything more than just to laugh at dumb pictures with their friends.
Yeah, or like plan this vacation.
But I'm wondering if, but even that, like, I don't know if I would like trust. I think people would like to like look into that themselves. At least I'd like to think. But I wonder if it's going to start pushing people, if like as social media sites become more and more like fragmented, right? Like there's more of them, so people are not just on one. For a while, it was like almost everyone is on Facebook and Twitter. That's it. There was like, there's been other ones that have popped up. Then like Snapchat came, then TikTok, and now Threads, which, and Instagram. So everyone's on these. There's like a million of them. I'd say people probably use 1 or 2 regularly, unless they're doing it for a business purpose in terms of just using it. I wonder if like AI and not understanding like if this was written by a person and it has any soul at all, or if it's just something the machine pushed out based on, all of the data that it can process very quickly. If it's going to push more people for like 2 things in my head, push more people to real life, like meeting spaces, that's not the correct word. So like real life, like, I don't know, places to hang out for like actual authentic like interaction, or, and be like, if it's going to put a premium on like authenticity and like storytelling, that's something that an AI bot can't do. So like you mentioned in like your Substack articles, you're talking about your actual life and things that you've actually done, something that AI cannot figure out unless, cannot write that story for you and cannot put it in the proper context. I'm wondering if that will become even more, obviously I think that's what you should be doing anyway, but if that'll become more and more valued, people that do take the time to write and it's like an opinion-based thing about something that's actually going on in their life, which is then going to push them out to do more things because they're going to need more things to talk about.
It should probably be labeled like this was written by a robot or this was written by this guy.
Yeah, right.
It's written by a robot. So, we have no idea.
Am I reading something that a robot wrote, or am I reading something that like some dude wrote? It's like, I think people would like that context. And they should make anyone who doesn't label it should probably be put in jail for, I don't know, what's appropriate sentence, 3 years, 4 years?
I just see you get slapped. There's an AI person that comes around.
That's a slapping. Okay.
And if you can't tell, I'm a little bit like biasly against using AI because it feels just, I get that it helps with a lot of things. The one thing I can say that AI is probably great for is like if you write your own thing, like, can you proofread this? Like, I think that's probably great. And then, like those tasks, or like, can you like write 5 social media posts about this thing?
Yeah, or do research for me, or like take all this content and turn it into a book for me, or like this basic stuff like that. But that's taking away jobs from copywriters, and no matter how you look at it. But that's just, there's nothing we can do about it at this point. Tim, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say I got a client who uses it to respond to his connections on LinkedIn, and he's responding to them. And I got to tell you, he's getting meetings out of it. He's getting more and more like discovery calls out of that. And he has it all set up that AI tells that when so and so post, and it automatically responds to it. It's pretty.
Yeah. So,
Have you seen like what kind of stuff it says?
Yeah,
Like, because I'm curious, like what kind of responses. Like,
I was so intrigued with him. I
Yeah.
actually set up a one-on-one call with him just like a week ago. He's actually in a class I'm running, but he showed it to me, and it was. You could even say, be funny on this post, be short, whatever you want to do, and it's pretty interesting for commenting on somebody else's post. And then, of course,
it's what I find really interesting too is that like now everything's called AI, whereas what you just described probably maybe has some AI characteristics, but like what a couple years ago they would call that a chatbot. Before that, they would have called it software, and now anything that does anything is now AI because like that's gonna make it seem more like it's got a little more sizzle to it, right? And I don't know, maybe we're just splitting hairs.
Definitely in the phase of shoehorning in the word AI.
Yeah. But sounds like a cool tool, no doubt about it. You guys know my take on LinkedIn tools that like there's some people doing really well with them, and for a lot of people it's not the right thing because like you risk the tool sending out a message that is like weird in some way and didn't land right because it was like, oh, that was like one of my former clients that sent this weird message to, there's all these ways that it can mess up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I shit you not. Hold on, real quick on that.
Yeah.
I got a message today. I'm opening it up right now, so I might from someone that said, "Excuse me, was this to the wrong person?" Here, let me read it. It said, "Sorry, comma, are you mistaken?" And I was like, what? It was a LinkedIn message. So I said, What are you replying to? It was a message that I sent using a macros before bots were like even really a thing. We had when we were doing link selling, we do LinkedIn marketing, and we had found a way to send like automated, and it would send it to people to get people to join.
Yeah, LinkedIn groups.
It was a message from 10 years ago that I sent at 10:30, 10:30 a.m. on August 15th, 2013. She finally replied to it. And what she was upset about is that I called her Dave. And her name was Christina. And so what you're talking about, dude, is exactly what happened. But like 10 years later, she goes, "Sorry, are you mistaken?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. That was from 10 years ago. But apparently I was. I'm sorry."
Yeah, I just had this conversation with somebody that we all know recently who was like, I got these 50 people that are like really important to my business, and I want to send them all a message and have it merge in the right information to like automate it. And I was like, dude, send those messages manually. Why are you even tripping on this? Like the time it'll take you to set this up. And then also the risk that like sometimes that stuff goes wrong in some way or another. And you're like, these 50 people are that important to you. Just send the message manually, like do a little copy and paste and get it done.
I mean,
yeah. But anyway, so let me switch gears here. Another thing that AI couldn't do is like tell you about like a wine that it enjoyed because it doesn't, robots don't drink wine yet until they merge in the singularity, and then they will write the reviews. But until then, I'm going to do them. So this is, can you see this well enough, or do I need to zoom in? Ryan?
Yeah, you're going to want to zoom in.
How are we doing here?
We go. Yeah, that works.
The lighting is hitting it in a weird way, but as you guys can see here,
that's labels.
That's a really cool label. Yeah, extra dimension. We can
wine code. Yeah. Also a great name for a winery and a wine producer. And this is their marvelous Mourvedre, the 2022. So a couple of things here. Number one, I'm not going to sit here and drink this wine and tell you what it tastes like because I think that's dumb. A lot of
you drank before the show, though, right?
I did. I drank some. I had a couple glasses last night. Tim, I'm trying to limit myself to, if I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to have a 2-drink maximum on a normal kind of day. And I'm also only doing that every other day. So I'm not, which makes it tough because if you open a bottle and you only have 2 glasses and then you're going to take the next day off, you're not going to drink 2 days in a row ever. Then this has got to last till day 3. The cool thing is say that, Tim.
So what you got to do is you got to get one of those wine things that you actually take out the wine through the cork, so the cork stays in. I have one of those when I do something like that. stays like you can leave it for months, like a fresh bottle of wine. That could be good for you,
the
my friend.
Coravin. I have the Coravin as well. I use it a lot for that exact reason. Because also a lot of times I'm really into pairing the wine with the food. As a lot of people are really into wine, like that's a big part of the purpose. It makes food better, that makes the wine better. If you're drinking good wine, et cetera, et cetera. And like a lot of times I'll want like a glass of white to get the night started, or to go with like an appetizer that's
Get things popping.
Yeah, you got them shrimp cocktails sitting on the table. You don't want a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, you can't have red wine with that.
No,
What are you, a
you want a
heathen?
crisp.
Can't have red with shrimp
You want a
cocktail.
crisp white to go with that.
No, you want a
know
nice
what I'm saying?
Chardonnay or something with that, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to. There's a lot of options of what you can put with that shrimp cocktail. The thing is, I like a spicy horseradish. So with that spice, sometimes a Chardonnay is not the right choice, and you might want something that's a little drier with a little more acidity as well. So there's a lot of options down that road. A lot of Chardonnays aren't really that high on the acid, but nonetheless. So here's
where's this wine knowledge coming from, real quick? Where's this wine knowledge coming from? I know you
I'm
like
deep in
wine.
the game, my
Have
friend.
you taken classes?
I'm deep in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I started when I don't know if I'm going to go back to like 2014, 2015. I've been drinking wine like, since I was like 20 years old. Always enjoyed it. I would get a bottle of wine and bring it home like in my 20s when I was living by myself, and I would smash a bottle of red wine with like a little styrofoam carton of Chinese takeout. And I was like the best, right? Like in the heyday of The Office, the show, like Thursday night ritual for me was like smash a bottle of red wine, which at the time I was drinking cheap wine, but I thought it was good. And now I know it's not. Cheap bottle of red wine, styrofoam container of hot braised chicken, which I've learned only in St. Louis do Chinese restaurants have something called hot braised chicken.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's a St. Louis thing.
Oh shit! And our St. Pauli sandwich.
Because I had a joke I was working on that I told one of my buddies that has to do with like hot braised chicken. It's an inappropriate joke, so I'm not going to say it. And he said, "Well, that joke won't work anywhere but St. Louis." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "They don't. That's a St. Louis Chinese food thing." So, anyways, that's what I would do. And then fast forward to like 2014, 2015, started going to dinners with some of my business friends in EO that were in like my forum and stuff. Every month we go to these baller steakhouse dinners and all this stuff. And that was when I started to regularly drink, like for the first time in my life, expensive wine. It was like, these is totally different kinds of wine than I'd had ever before. And I was like, this is fucking delicious. So then that's kind of led me down the wine road, started to get more into it. And I don't know, I just love wine and I like collecting it. I think wine cellars are awesome. I'm building one in my basement now. It's almost finished. I got the racks coming in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow, I gotta see that.
Right now I've got about 500 bottles down there. I've got probably the capacity for 1,500 once I get these racks installed.
What? How big is this?
It's a walk-in closet that I turned into a wine cellar.
You can fit that many.
You can put that many in there.
Will 500 get you through April, Josh? Or
see, here's the thing. Now I'm only opening like a couple bottles of wine a week at this point. So it's like these. If you've got enough wine to have a wine cellar, it's not just like cheap stuff that you're going to drink this year. It's like there's a lot of stuff in there that's not even ready to drink yet, right? Like old I shouldn't say old, but like more recent vintages of certain Bordeaux's and stuff that like if you drank it now, you'd be like, what the fuck? Why is this $100 a bottle? It's like chalky because it's not going to be ready to drink for 15 more years. Right. So anyways, there you go. Deep in the game. That's where it's coming from, Ryan. And the thing that I've realized though in drinking more and more wine is that like the more you get into it, the more you end up moving away from some of the things that you thought were the best when you first started. So like one of the first wines I had that was like an expensive wine that I was like, wow, this is different than what I've been drinking before was Caymus. And now I don't like Caymus now because it's like this rich chocolatey jammy thing. Like you're like choking it down. It's like high alcohol content. there's like much better California Cabernets out there at that price point that are much more balanced, elegant wines that are fucking delicious and have like like to me, a better flavor profile. But the thing is, Caymus is like super fucking popular. Like they're like the massive brand. And there's a lot of people that like that sort of thing. So it's all fucking subjective. There's a lot of people who would try this wine that I had last night that I love. And that this is a producer that I love out of California, Extra Dimensional Wine Co. Yeah. A lot of people might drink this and be like, I don't understand why you're so excited about it. Because when they think wine, they want a big, bold cab, right? Or whatever it is that they're interested in. But it's all subjective. And just because you go up in the price, whatever ladder, doesn't mean that you're getting into necessarily something that you're going to like more, right? It's like these guys, most of their wines are coming in around $50. They make wines that are like super unique. And I know you guys would like this. One of the cool things I like about their wines is that they're lighter. They're not heavy. So you can easily smash a couple glasses without even thinking about it, right? And you're not going to be like fucking hot because it's 13% alcohol, whereas a lot of big, more rich wines are like 15%. So anyways, one of the things I love about this wine is that the company behind it has a really, really cool brand, which is why I wanted to talk about it on our first show, because it has a tie into business a little bit. A couple of things they're doing that are cool is when I got the most recent case, so I've been ordering from them for a couple years, and this is stuff that'll last forever. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say forever. The way these are built, these will last at least a decade though, right? And so I can keep plugging these into the cellar and drink a few a year, et cetera, et cetera. But these guys, and the last thing I got was a little handwritten personal note from them, and you can see that it's
wow,
Joshua, and from the winemaker and the people that are running the business.
What's the brand name again?
Can you share your screen? Throw up their website. Extra Dimensional Wine Co. Yeah.
Does it say what part of California they're from? That wine.
So they're from. So this wine itself is from a vineyard in Contra Costa County.
Oh yeah. Oh, not far at all. It's like an hour from here.
The producer is bottling this at their winery in Santa Rosa.
Okay, that's like 2 hours.
Cool. So they're acquiring grapes from different sources. I don't know which vineyards they own or which vineyards are at their actual winery, if you will. But they're doing really cool things. So from a business standpoint, the cool things they're doing is that like personal touches to their customers make such a difference. Like I always save these little cards that these guys send to me because to me, they're like famous. Like these winemakers who are the people that are making the wine for wines that I love. I'm like, those people are like kind of like superstars to me, if you will. So to get the handwritten note, I always save them. I think it's really cool. And then also their branding is sick.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And like really a lot of wineries are trying to come up with cool labels. And so that's not like a new thing. Like, oh, here's a wine that has a cool label, like big fucking deal. There's a million of them out there, but like they do a great job of branding, like not just with the labels, but then extending that across the spectrum for like this whole like experience of how they're going about things and how they talk in their marketing is all aligned with the same kind of imagery and messaging. And it's really cool. So, this is a great wine. Everyone will love it. And if you are into wine, then go to their website, sign up for their mailing list. You can't buy this in stores, at least not around me. I don't know if they have, maybe they've got some distribution deals that have them in some stores in some places, but I do know that you can just go get on their mailing list. And every once in a while they release an offer. And that's how I
can go to Sonoma. Tim can just drive
you
there.
can go to their wine room and or go to the winery.
And Santa Rosa.
Tim could be there by 2 p.m.
Yeah, right. Santa Rosa is basically right on the cusp of the wine country. So, and by the way, Josh, have you ever done Napa Valley? Because I mean,
I've been twice.
Yeah, I
I've been
like it.
twice.
You gotta know where to go though. Like,
Ryan.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been twice with some friends. I would love to go. If you guys ever go, if you guys get a trip together to go, Wives
Mhm.
can come because I'm not going
Yeah.
there without Dawn.
You
I'm
can
in.
use me as home base, man. I'm an
I
hour
like
drive to you all stay here. Free.
Napa's a lot of fun, and it's like super bougie and like expensive as fuck. So it's kind of like, but also, I mean, like you're gonna drink a lot of great wine there for sure, but you got to know the places to go. Like, the first time I went, I didn't know that. I went to like half the right places, and half were like, this isn't really like, because there's different, like,
It's
Napa
kinds.
wine is there's such a spectrum out there. And honestly, like it just takes time to figure out like what you like and what you're into. And like over the years, I've realized like I'm more into stuff like a Chateau Montelena cab. This is a 2001 that I opened up on my birthday, I think, for the fun of it. This is an expensive bottle. This is like 150 bucks or something. But these are wines that, like, to my point earlier, Montelena is something that, like, why can't I get this fucking lighting right in here, man? Anyways, it's a little better.
Because it's the first show. That's why.
Well,
Yeah. So,
real quick.
anyways, this is the kind of cab that's like going to take a long time to come around. If you drank this right when it came out in 2001, you'd be like, it's hardly even drinkable. But these are like fine wines built for aging that are totally different than the opposite end of the spectrum, which is like the Camus stuff. So there's the wine talk for today. I know we've
Real quick, one thing. When you get your one, is Tim coming to St. Louis at any time soon?
I'm talking about it. Yeah.
The offer's
Because
been
here's the deal.
extended and so far not accepted.
Can we do? I want to do something in Josh's wine cellar when you get in here. Josh should do a tasting for us. You don't even have to do it on video. I don't care.
I saw the last wine cellar was impressive. But remember your last one, Josh? I did see that. Did you see that one, Ryan?
I wouldn't call that one a cellar. That one had it was like a room with a few racks in it, but it was really well designed. Yeah.
It was really well designed with that amazing cassette player.
This thing, what's that, Tim?
With the amazing cassette player in the room. We listened to some old shows.
Yeah. So we got 3 minutes left here, guys. I know that we haven't hit half the things that were on our agenda here today, but I know that both Ryan and Tim have to bounce in a second. So I'm going to be respectful of their time, and everybody else is here as well. One of the things that I know we're going to be talking about on an ongoing basis on this show is something that I'm calling my blueprint, which is a new program, if you will, that we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. It's not really going to be a focus of the show here, except maybe we'll say like, oh, this week on the blueprint, we're doing X, Y, and Z. So for now, I'll just tease to anybody who's watching this that we've got some cool stuff that we're going to be announcing for our business coming up soon. And I'm excited about that. You guys got anything else you want to say before we bounce?
I have one thing. So this was, we call this episode 0 because honestly, this isn't like a planned thing. You know, we're just getting on and talking. So it was like the first time we do it, and we're figuring things out. But I'm really excited about doing this every week. It'll become more and more polished. Yeah. Josh will get his lighting right. We'll have wine in the cellar, that kind of stuff. But anybody that watches this, I appreciate you, and the stuff that we have coming up is going to be really cool.
I think, dude, we're off and running on something that nobody else is doing out there, having fun, being laid back about the whole thing, being spontaneous. I love it. It's mostly business, but a lot of fun too.
Real quick before we go, I'm going to try to switch to – never mind, I can't. I was going to switch it to the mobile view and see what it looked like, but I can't.
All right, guys. Hey, appreciate everybody tuning in to watch us today. Catch you on the flip side.
Cheers, all.
See you guys.